The twin suns of the planet Valaris 9 burned red in the sky. The air trembled with the sound of explosions and screams. The ground shook under the fire of alien cannons. Human soldiers ran for cover as giant warships of the Void Legion darkened the heavens. In the middle of the chaos stood Captain Ethan Ward. His armor cracked, his body bleeding but his eyes still burning with courage. He was known as humanity's shield, the soldier who never retreated. Around him, his squad was falling one by one. The enemy was too strong, too many. But Ethan did not care about numbers. He cared only about one thing: saving the princess. Princess Alira of Zira, the daughter of the alien emperor, was the only hope for peace between humans and the Zyran Empire. She had chosen to fight beside humans to end the endless war between their races. But that choice had made her a target. The Void Legion wanted her dead, and Ethan had sworn his life to protect her. A blast hit nearby, throwing him to the ground. His visor cracked. Static filled his headset. Through the smoke he saw her, Alira, trapped behind fallen metal trying to crawl to safety. Her golden armor was glowing faintly under the red dust. "Captain Ward, fall back," a voice screamed through the comms. But Ethan ignored it. He staggered to his feet, blood dripping from his chin. "She's still out there," he said, grabbing his plasma rifle. He ran straight into the storm of fire. Bullets and plasma streaks flew around him like angry comets. He dodged one, fired back, and kept moving. His armor alarms screamed warnings. Power low, heart rate critical. Still, he pushed forward. Alira looked up and saw him coming. "Ethan, no!" she cried, but he only smiled. "Your Majesty," he said through the comms. "I told you before. I don't die until my mission's done." He reached her just as a massive alien drone descended, its cannons charging blue light. Without thinking, Ethan grabbed her and pushed her down. The blast hit him full in the chest. The world exploded into white. He felt the heat burn through his body. His armor melted. His vision blurred. But even as pain filled every nerve, his mind was calm. He saw her face, eyes wide, tears falling, calling his name. "Ethan, stay with me," she screamed, holding him in her arms. He smiled weakly. "As long as you live?" "Humanity lives," he whispered. Then his body went still. His hand fell from hers. The battlefield fell silent in her ears. For a long moment, the princess did not move. Her heart felt like it had stopped too. Around her, the battle still raged, but she heard nothing. She pressed her forehead to his chest. "You can't die," she whispered. "Not you, but Ethan Ward, humanity's hero, was gone." Hours later, when rescue teams arrived, they found no body. Only his broken armor, scorched and empty. The battlefield became sacred ground. They built a memorial there, a black stone tower that reached for the sky. And at its base were words carved in both human and alien language. He died to save peace. He died to save her. Years passed. The war finally ended. Princess Alira became Queen Alira, ruler of two worlds united by the memory of one man. She led with strength and kindness, but her heart was still haunted by that moment on the battlefield. Every night she saw him fall again. Every night she woke whispering his name. But fate was not done with Ethan Ward. One night, deep within the royal citadel, the queen was called to the secret chambers below. Scientists and commanders stood waiting beside a large stasis pod, old, damaged, covered in frost. One of them handed her a hollow chip. "Your Majesty," the scientist said, his voice shaking. "We found this buried in the ruins of the old war lab on Titan." She inserted the chip. A hologram flickered to life, the face of a long-dead general. "Project Resurrection," the hologram said. "Subject Captain Ethan Ward," the Queen's breath caught. Her hands trembled. "What did you say?" The scientist hesitated. There's a heartbeat signal inside that pod, Your Majesty. Very faint. It could be him." Alira took a slow step forward, her heart pounding. The frost on the pod began to melt under the warm light. Behind the glass, a shadow moved, a human shape. For the first time in years, hope lit her eyes. She whispered, almost to herself, "Bring him back." The words echoed through the chamber like a command to the universe itself. The queen, who had lost everything now, had one purpose again: to bring back the hero who died to save her. Outside, lightning flashed across the alien sky. The storm had returned, and with it, the first heartbeat of humanity's greatest hero. The storm outside the royal citadel had not stopped for 3 days. Lightning flashed across the sky, striking the tall metal towers of the city of Arendor Prime. The queen stood at the window, watching the rain fall like silver knives. Her mind was far away, deep beneath the surface where the cryogenic chamber waited. It had been a week since they found the pod. Every scientist who touched it said the same thing. The man inside shouldn't be alive. But Alira didn't care about science. She had seen the impossible before. She had seen a human soldier stand against gods. Now she wanted him back. Inside the cold chamber, the pod hissed open. White mist rolled across the metal floor. The lights flickered blue, then red, then steady white. The scientist stepped back as a faint beeping filled the air. A heartbeat. A man lay inside, pale, silent. His chest rose slowly. His skin glowed faintly with blue veins running like lightning beneath the surface. "Vital stable," said Dr. Voss, the lead scientist. His voice shook. "Neural patterns are active. My God, he's waking up." The queen took a slow step forward, her silver cloak trailing behind her. Her hand hovered over the glass. "Ethan," she whispered. The man's eyes opened. They were no longer just human. His pupils flashed with faint light, scanning the room like a machine. For a moment, he didn't move. Then slowly, his head turned toward her. "Who are you?" His voice was rough, hollow, like someone who hadn't spoken in centuries. Alira's heart broke and healed at the same time. "You know me," she said softly. "You saved me once," he blinked, confused. "Saved you?" His hand trembled as he tried to sit up. "I remember. Fire screams, a name." He pressed his hand to his temple. "Alira," she smiled through her tears. "Yes, that's me." But before he could say another word, alarms blared. The machines around him began to spark. His heartbeat spiked. His veins glowed brighter, spreading light through his entire body. The scientists panicked. "Energy surge," one shouted. "His biofusion core is unstable." Ethan gasped in pain. His body arched as a wave of blue energy burst from him, throwing metal tables aside. The queen shielded her face. Then to silence, he fell forward, breathing heavily. The glow faded. The room smelled of ozone and fear. Dr. Voss approached carefully. "Your Majesty, this isn't the same man. He's been modified. His DNA is part human, part something else. Alien technology." Alira turned to him sharply. "He is Ethan Ward. I don't care what he's made of." "But Your Majesty," Voss said, voice trembling. "What if he's a weapon?" The queen looked back at Ethan. His eyes were closed again, his face peaceful. "Then," she said coldly, "he is my weapon." Hours later, Ethan sat on the edge of the medical bed, staring at his reflection in a metal panel. The blue veins under his skin pulsed softly. His hands looked human, but his strength was not. He had broken the restraints without meaning to. Dr. Voss entered, holding a data pad. "You're recovering faster than expected," he said. "Your body has adapted." Ethan looked up. "Adapted to what?" Voss hesitated. "To death." Before he could explain, the queen entered. Everyone stood at attention. Her presence filled the room with quiet power. "Leave us," she ordered. The room emptied until only the two of them remained. She approached him slowly. "You died protecting me," she said softly. "And now you live again." He looked at her, confusion and sadness in his eyes. "Am I still me?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she touched his hand. It was cold, but real. "You are who you choose to be, Ethan." He looked down. "What if I'm something dangerous?" "Then I'll be the one to stop you," she said with a sad smile. "But I won't lose you again." The next day, the Queen summoned the High Council. Reports had arrived from deep space. Colonies destroyed, ships lost. One word repeated through every transmission: Void Legion, the same enemy. The same monsters who had killed Ethan before. "Prepare the fleets," Alira commanded. "If they've returned, humanity must stand ready." As the council obeyed, one advisor, a man with pale eyes, watched silently. He smiled faintly. Deep in his pocket, a small device blinked with the symbol of the Void Legion. That night, Ethan stood alone on the Citadel balcony, looking at the stars. His new senses could hear the hum of energy far beyond the horizon. He felt something in his mind, a whisper, a memory not his own. You cannot escape what you are. He looked up. The stars shimmered, then flickered as if something enormous was moving in the dark between worlds. Below, the Queen walked toward him. You can feel it too, she said quietly. He nodded slowly. They're coming. Her eyes hardened. Then let them come. Lightning cracked across the sky. The wind howled like ghosts of the dead. Somewhere above the clouds, a fleet of unknown ships broke through orbit. The Void Legion had returned, and this time, humanity's dead hero would be waiting for them. The night sky above Arendor Prime turned red. At first, people thought it was another storm, but storms didn't move in formation. The clouds split open as massive dark shapes appeared, stretching across the stars. Their edges glowed with crimson light. It wasn't thunder they heard. It was engines that belonged to no human ship. The Void Legion had returned. Every sensor, every radar, every satellite screamed warnings. Their fleet was unlike anything seen before. Huge warships shaped like blades moving in silence, feeding on energy from the planet's sun. From her command tower, Queen Alira watched in disbelief. Her hands gripped the console. How did they cross our borders without detection? Unknown, Your Majesty, said Admiral Kale. They're using stealth fields. They appeared out of nowhere. Her eyes narrowed. Then we face them here. Prepare the defense grid. Yes, Your Majesty. But deep inside she knew. This was not just an invasion. It was a hunt. Far below the city in the biolab, Ethan Ward was awake again. His mind pulsed with strange patterns. Images flickered in his head. Alien coordinates, weapons, stars. He could feel something calling to him from beyond the void. Dr. Voss entered, breathless. Ethan, we need you at command. The Void Legion is here. Ethan turned slowly. His eyes glowed faintly blue. I know, he said. I can feel them. The doctor froze. Feel them how? Ethan looked at his reflection in the glass. Because part of me is one of them. Minutes later, the command center roared to life. The Queen stood beside her generals, giving orders. The massive city shield began to rise, glowing silver across the horizon. Fighter squadrons launched from hangars, streaking toward the red sky. Then the doors opened when Ethan walked in. Every soldier turned. The room went silent. His black combat armor gleamed under the lights, glowing faintly with blue veins that moved like energy currents. Some whispered in fear. Others whispered his name. The Queen met his eyes. You came. He nodded. You need a soldier. I need my soldier, she said softly. He looked at the screens showing the alien fleet. Then let's remind them what a human can do. The first wave hit. The skies turned into fire. Alien drones rained plasma on the city's shields, shaking the ground. Human ships fired back, tearing through the dark clouds. Inside the command center, the power flickered. Shields at 60%, shouted an officer. Redirect energy from Sector 9, Alira ordered. Ethan closed his eyes. They're targeting the North Tower, he said quietly. How do you know that? She asked. He pointed to his head. They're talking. I can hear their command signals. The hybrid part of me, it's connected. Everyone stared. The Queen stepped closer. Can you use it? He hesitated. Maybe, but if I do, it might take over me. Alira looked into his eyes, calm, fearless. Then fight it. Like you always have, he smiled faintly. Still giving orders, huh? She almost smiled back. Someone has to keep the hero alive. Ethan walked into the control chamber and placed his hand on the data port. Sparks leapt as his mind linked to the system. Suddenly he could see everything. Human ships, enemy fleets, even the alien signals moving through the void. He spoke through gritted teeth. I can reroute their coordinates. I can send half their drones into the sun. Do it, the Queen said. His eyes turned fully blue. Energy burst from his body, merging with the ship's systems. The screens glowed bright alien code flashing across them. The operator stepped back as if witnessing a god. For a moment it worked. The enemy drones spun out of control, flying straight into the sun's gravity well. The sky lit up like fire, but then Ethan screamed. The code inside his mind twisted. The alien voice grew louder, a deep, cold whisper. We made you, Ethan Ward. You are ours. He fell to his knees, clutching his head. His pulse raced. The lights in the room flickered violently. Ethan! The Queen ran to him, grabbing his shoulders. Stay with me! He looked up, eyes glowing like twin stars. They're inside me, trying to take control. She held his face with trembling hands. You're stronger than them. You always were. He took a deep breath, then roared. The power surged out of him again, breaking the link. The room exploded with sparks. The lights went out. When they came back on, Ethan was on the floor, smoke rising from his armor. Dr. Voss rushed forward. He's alive, but barely. The Queen knelt beside him. You did it, she whispered. You saved us again. He opened his eyes weakly. Not yet. They're still coming. This was only the first wave. The screens flickered back to life. A massive ship appeared on the radar, larger than any other, shaped like a dark crown. The signal name read Kravos. The Queen froze. Kravos, the warlord who killed you. Ethan sat up slowly. His voice was quiet, steady. Then let's finish what he started. High above the world, the flagship of the Void Legion turned toward Arendor Prime. Inside, the alien warlord Kravos watched through black glass, a cruel smile spreading across his face. So, he hissed. The Queen brought her hero back from the dead. He leaned closer to the screen, where Ethan's image flickered from spy drones. Good. Now I can kill him twice. The war drums of the Void Legion echoed through the void. Their fleet circled the planet like vultures waiting for a dying world. The people of Arendor Prime prayed under the crimson sky, and the Queen stood silent at the edge of her command balcony, watching the storm of war gather once again. But far below in the medical wing, Ethan Ward was fighting a storm of his own. He lay on the recovery bed, sweat running down his neck. The machines around him beeped wildly, trying to read his unstable vitals. His body was healing faster than human limits, but his mind was shattering. Every time he closed his eyes, flashes of memory burned through him. He saw faces he couldn't name, battles he couldn't forget, and one voice, and always her voice. Ethan. It wasn't a dream. It was a memory trying to come back. He saw himself running through fire. He saw Alira screaming his name, reaching for him as he pushed her to safety. He remembered her tears falling on his armor. And then, nothing but white light and silence. When he woke, the Queen was there beside him. Her crown was gone, her hair tied back. No soldiers, no advisors, just her and him. You're remembering, she said softly. He stared at the ceiling. Bits and pieces. It feels like someone else's life. It was yours, she said. He turned to face her, his eyes cold and lost. Then why do I remember them too? The aliens. Their screams. Their language. I can hear it inside my head. Alira lowered her gaze. Because you were brought back with part of their essence. Your mind carries fragments of their memories. He clenched his fists. So I'm not human anymore. You're more than human, she whispered. You are proof that humanity can rise even from death. Ethan sat up, pain flashing through his eyes. You don't understand. They're inside me, Alira. I can feel their hatred, their hunger. It's like I'm one of them. The Queen's voice trembled. You could never be one of them. He looked at her long and hard. Then tell me the truth. Why did you bring me back? For a moment she said nothing. The room was quiet except for the hum of machines. Then, in a voice heavy with grief, she answered, Because I couldn't live with your death. I needed you, not as a soldier, but as the man who saved me. Ethan's breath caught. You risked everything for a ghost. Her eyes glistened. You're not a ghost. You're my reminder that love can defy even death. Outside, alarms blared again. The Void Legion was attacking the outer colonies. But inside that quiet room, another war was being fought. One of hearts and memories. Ethan touched the side of his head. Every time I hear your voice, I remember more. She stepped closer. Then listen, and she told him everything. About the first time they met, when he was a soldier assigned to protect her during the peace talks. How she had hated him at first, the cold human soldier with no emotion. How that changed the night she saw him stand alone against a battalion to save her people. She told him about the night before the last battle, when he came to her tent, exhausted, covered in dust and blood. She had offered him water, but he refused. Save it for the wounded, he had said. But when she looked into his eyes, she saw something there. Something fragile. Something human. And then for the first time she had kissed him. It was not a royal act. It was not political. It was the quiet moment when two souls from two different worlds realized they belonged to each other. Now in the cold light of the present, Those memories hit Ethan like a storm. His eyes widened as tears filled them. "I remember," he whispered. "Your face. Your tears are the fire. You were crying for me." She nodded slowly, her lips trembling. "And I never stopped." Ethan looked down at his hands. "Then I died for something worth dying for." But before they could say another word, the lights flickered. The floor shook violently. Dr. Voss's voice came through the intercom. "Your Majesty, the Void Legion has breached the orbital ring. Their flagship is descending." Ethan stood, strength returning like fire in his veins. "It's him," he said. "Kravos." The Queen looked at him, fear and courage mixing in her eyes. "Then this is where it ends." Ethan's expression hardened. "No, this is where it begins again." He grabbed his weapon, the ancient plasma rifle that had been rebuilt alongside him. The blue veins across his arms began to glow brighter. His heartbeat synced with the hum of the weapon. He turned to the Queen. "Stay here. If they get through, I'll stop them." She shook her head fiercely. "Not this time. You don't fight alone anymore." For a moment they stood facing each other, the Queen and her resurrected soldier. Lightning flashed outside, painting them in white fire. Ethan's voice was calm but strong. "Then we fight together?" Again, the alarm screamed. The walls trembled. Above the clouds, the dark shadow of Kravos's flagship spread across the sky like a storm that had finally found its prey. The battle for humanity's soul was about to begin. And this time, death itself would have to wait. The capital of Arendor Prime burned like a dying sun. Alien warships floated above the atmosphere, raining blue fire across the shields of the city. The royal palace shook under each impact. Inside its golden walls, chaos ruled. Soldiers shouting, officers running, alarms crying through the night. And in the middle of it all, Queen Alira stood calm, like a flame refusing to be blown out. Her eyes followed the holographic display, red dots spreading across every continent. The Void Legion had landed, but she didn't know the worst part yet. The danger wasn't just in the sky. It was already inside her walls. Deep in the command center, Ethan Ward and Dr. Voss studied the incoming transmissions. Lines of alien code ran across the screen. Ethan's eyes flickered blue as he translated the encrypted message in his mind. "They're tracking something," he muttered. "A signal from inside the palace." Dr. Voss froze. "Inside? That's impossible. The palace network is isolated." Ethan turned slowly, his face hard as steel. Then someone opened the door for them. At that moment, alarms blared again. The main security feed flashed red. "Unauthorized data spike in Sector 4. Ethan didn't wait. He grabbed his plasma rifle and sprinted through the corridors, his armor glowing faintly with energy. Guards followed close behind. He reached Sector 4, the communications chamber, and saw sparks flying from the main console. A figure in royal robes stood there, typing frantically into the system. "Step away from the console," Ethan shouted. The figure turned. It was Lord Arkin, the Queen's chief advisor, a man she had trusted since her coronation. Arkin smiled faintly, eyes glowing with faint silver light. "You're too late, soldier. The gate is open." Ethan fired a warning shot, burning a hole beside Arkin's hand. "Close it now." But Arkin only laughed. "You think she brought you back out of love? No, Ethan Ward, she brought you back as a weapon, and every weapon eventually obeys its maker." Ethan's expression darkened. "You don't know her." "Oh, I know her better than you think," Arkin hissed. "She will sacrifice this entire world for you, and when she does, the Void Legion will win." Before Ethan could fire, Arkin pressed a glowing device against his wrist. The walls shook violently as an energy surge ripped through the floor. A massive wormhole tore open above the planet, a swirling black wound in the sky. Ethan was thrown to the ground as power conduits exploded. He shouted into his comms, "Queen, the portal's open. He's betrayed us." In the throne chamber, Alira's blood ran cold as she heard his voice. "Guards, seal the upper levels," she ordered. "Find Arkin." But before anyone could move, the lights went out. The entire palace fell into darkness. Then came a voice, deep, metallic, echoing through the walls. "You cannot stop the inevitable." The ground trembled. Windows shattered. And from the sky, Kravos's fleet began descending through the wormhole. Meanwhile, Ethan fought through the burning corridors, dragging himself toward the control room. His armor was cracked, smoke rising from his shoulders. He kicked open the door and found Arkin lying on the ground, coughing blood. Half his face burned from the explosion. Ethan aimed his rifle. Why Arkan? Why betray your queen? Arkan laughed weakly. Because peace is a lie. The Void Legion offers eternity. Flesh is weak. Machines endure. His hand twitched toward a detonator. Ethan fired. A single clean shot, and Arkan went still. The detonator clattered to the floor. Ethan grabbed it, eyes widening. It showed a countdown, 60 seconds. He shouted into his comms, "Voss!" He set a fusion bomb under the power core. "If it blows, the city dies." Dr. Voss's voice crackled back. "Ethan, you can't disarm it remotely. You'll have to go down there now." Without hesitation, Ethan ran. His vision blurred as flames filled the hallway. His hybrid systems kept him alive, but even they were reaching their limit. He reached the power core, a massive chamber glowing with red light. The bomb sat at its center, pulsing like a heartbeat. He dropped to his knees, tearing open the device with his bare hands. 50 seconds. 40. 30. Sweat dripped down his face. His mind raced through the alien code that powered the detonation system. His veins glowed brighter as he linked to it directly. Dr. Voss shouted through the comms, "You're overloading your neural link. Disconnect or you'll burn your brain." Ethan gritted his teeth. If this bomb blows, everyone burns. 20 seconds. 15, 10. Alira's voice came through, soft and desperate. "Ethan, stop. Don't do this again, please." He smiled faintly, fingers pressing into the core. "You said I'm more than human. Time to prove it. 5, 4. The bomb flashed white and then silence. Ethan lay motionless beside the core, smoke rising from his armor. His body was alive, but his systems were fried. The countdown stopped at 1 second. The Queen's voice trembled. He did it. But before relief could settle, the palace shook again, harder than before. Outside, the wormhole above the city widened, and from its center a colossal warship emerged. The sky turned black as Kravos himself stepped onto the battlefield. The moon titan glowed like a dying ember against the black sea of space. It was no longer silent. The skies above it burned with war. Thousands of ships clashed, streaks of plasma fire crossing the void like angry comets. The Void Legion had arrived in full force, their dark fleet covering the stars, and at the center of it all stood Ethan Ward, commander of the last human defense line. Titan's surface trembled under the shock of impact. The battle had already reached the ground. Human and Zyran troops fought side by side among the broken metal plains, firing toward the endless waves of alien machines. The Queen's banners fluttered in the toxic wind, the symbol of unity between two races that once hated each other. Ethan stood on a ridge overlooking the chaos, his black armor glowing faint blue, his face streaked with ash. The alien veins under his skin pulsed brighter every minute, a warning that his hybrid body was reaching its limit. Queen Alira's voice crackled through his comm. "Ethan, fall back to the fortress. Titan's core reactors are unstable. We can't hold this line forever." He smiled faintly. "Forever's not the plan, Your Majesty." "Then what is the plan?" she demanded. He turned his gaze to the sky where the monstrous flagship, Kravos's vessel, the Harbinger, loomed like a black sun. "I'm going to end this where it started." Inside the Queen's warship, her council begged her to retreat. "Your Majesty, the hybrid soldier cannot be trusted," said one. "He carries their technology. He could turn at any moment." Alira rose from her chair, her eyes fierce. "He already died once for humanity. None of you have the right to doubt him." The room fell silent. She pressed her hand on the console. "Prepare my ship. I'm going to Titan." "Majesty, you can't," the Admiral protested. "It's suicide." She looked at him with steel in her voice. "Then let it be a royal suicide. I will not watch from orbit while my people die." Down below, Ethan and his strike team advanced through burning ruins. The ground shook with each explosion. He could hear the alien whispers inside his mind, the Void Legion calling to him, tempting him. "You are ours, Ethan Ward. Join us. Become the weapon you were meant to be." He ignored the voice and kept walking. Beside him, a young soldier stumbled. Ethan grabbed him before he fell. "Keep your eyes forward, son. Courage isn't about not being afraid, it's about fighting anyway." The soldier nodded weakly. "Yes, sir," Ethan smiled. "Good man." They reached the launch platform where a small assault ship waited. Dr. Voss met him there, face pale and exhausted. "You're insane, Ethan. That ship can't make it through their shields." Ethan loaded his weapon. "I don't need to make it through. I just need to get close." Voss's eyes widened. "You're going to overload the hybrid core, aren't you? That will destroy you. Ethan placed a hand on his shoulder. I was never supposed to live this long. As the assault ship roared toward the sky, the Queen's warship appeared beside it, escorting him through enemy fire. Her voice filled his comms. You really thought I'd let you do this alone? She said, her tone half anger, half affection. Ethan sighed with a smile. You never listen to orders, do you? I learned that from you, she replied. Their ships weaved through a storm of plasma fire, dodging explosions and debris. The enemy fleet surrounded them, but the Queen's forces broke through in a brilliant flash of light. Then through the flames, the Harbinger appeared, vast, black, alive. The ship was more organism than machine, pulsing with dark energy. And standing at its command bridge was Kravos, the warlord who had once killed humanity's greatest hero. Target the flagship, Alira shouted, but before the weapons could fire, a deep voice thundered through every frequency in the fleet. I have been waiting for you, Queen of Flesh, and for your pet ghost. Ethan's blood ran cold. He knows we're here. The Harbinger opened fire, beams of pure antimatter slicing through the human fleet. Ships disintegrated in seconds. Alira's vessel took a direct hit, spinning out of control. Alira! Ethan shouted, static. Then her voice came through, weak but alive. I'm fine. Focus on the mission. He clenched his jaw. Hold on to that throne of yours. I'm coming back. He aimed his ship straight toward the Harbinger's core. Enemy drones swarmed around him, but his hybrid reflexes tore through them with perfect precision. Every shot he fired was a storm. Every move, a memory of what he used to be. Human courage with alien power. He broke through the shields and crash-landed inside the alien fortress. Sparks and dust filled the air. He stepped out, his armor cracked, his veins burning like fire. At the far end of the corridor, Kravos waited, towering, monstrous, with eyes like burning suns. Still human enough to bleed, Kravos sneered. Ethan raised his weapon, still human enough to win. They charged. The clash shook the ship. Kravos swung his massive blade, but Ethan dodged and countered with blast of energy from his palms. Every strike burned both of them, one fueled by rage, the other by purpose. Kravos laughed darkly. You can't kill me, human. You're part of me now. Ethan grabbed him by the throat, glowing veins pulsing like lightning. Then let's die together. He activated the core in his chest. The light grew brighter, pure white energy flooding the hall. Kravos screamed, clawing at him, but it was too late. From orbit, Queen Alira watched as the Harbinger erupted in a blinding explosion, tearing through the enemy fleet like a new sun. The wormhole collapsed. The sky cleared. Silence. Ethan, she whispered, tears falling. Titan was saved. Humanity was safe, but the hero was gone. Again, or so they thought. Deep in the ruins of the Harbinger, a faint heartbeat echoed. A single blue light blinked inside the smoke. Ethan Ward's voice, faint but alive. Heroes don't die. They just take longer to come back. The war was over. The skies above Titan were quiet for the first time in centuries. The fires had died, and the silence that followed felt heavier than the battle itself. Wreckage from thousands of ships drifted across the black horizon, silent ghosts of the war that had nearly ended humanity. Queen Alira stood on the balcony of the rebuilt citadel, her golden armor dulled with ash. The cold wind from Titan's frozen plains brushed her face, carrying whispers of the dead. Below her, workers rebuilt what war had destroyed. Humanity had survived, but it had paid the highest price, and she had paid hers too, because Ethan Ward, the man who had died twice to save her, was gone. They found no body, no armor, nothing. Only shattered metal where the Harbinger, Kravos' flagship, had once burned like a dark star. The explosion had consumed both Ethan and the alien warlord. At least that's what everyone believed. Every night, Alira came to the balcony and watched the stars. She didn't wear her crown anymore. To her people, she was the queen who ended the war. But to herself, she was just the woman who lost him, again. Her closest advisor approached quietly. Your Majesty, the Council awaits you. They wish to discuss rebuilding Earth's colonies. She nodded faintly. Tell them to begin without me. He hesitated. It's been 6 months, Majesty. You should rest. You've done enough. She turned toward the dark horizon. He used to say that too. Far across the galaxy, on a broken moon near the void, something stirred among the ruins of the Harbinger. A figure crawled out from beneath the twisted remains of alien steel. His body glowed faint blue, faint but alive. The skin was cracked, the armor fused to his flesh, but the eyes still burned with human fire. Ethan Ward had survived. The hybrid core inside him had detonated, but instead of destroying him, it had rebuilt him. The alien code and human DNA had fused perfectly this time. He wasn't entirely human anymore, but he wasn't alien either. He was something new, something reborn. He looked up at the stars, breathing the cold air of the dead moon. His voice was weak but steady. Still not my time. Weeks later, deep in the outer systems, the Queen's fleet received strange reports, signals from an unknown source near the ruins of the Harbinger. A faint pulse repeating the same phrase over and over. For humanity. For her. When Alira heard it, her heart stopped. Track it, she ordered. Now! The signal was weak, fading in and out. Every expert told her it was impossible. No human could survive that explosion. But she didn't listen. She boarded her ship herself. If it's impossible, she said softly, then it must be him. 3 days later, her ship landed on the dead moon. The wind howled through the broken wrecks of alien metal. The air was thin, the sky black. Soldiers searched with scanners, calling out coordinates. Then one of them shouted, "Your Majesty, we found something!" She ran. There, half buried under glowing crystal dust, was a hand, human, strong, still warm. They cleared the rubble, and there he was, Ethan Ward. His armor torn, his body scarred, but his chest rising with shallow breaths. The Queen knelt beside him, her eyes filling with tears. "Ethan, you stubborn fool." His eyes fluttered open. He blinked slowly, squinting at her face. For a moment, confusion clouded his gaze, and then recognition. "Alira," he whispered. "You're still giving orders, huh?" She laughed through her tears. "And you're still breaking them." He tried to sit up but winced in pain. "Guess I'm getting old." "You've died twice," she said softly. "You've earned it." He looked at her, really looked at her, the woman who had waded through war and death just to see him again. "I told you before," he murmured, "heroes don't die. They just take longer to come back." She smiled. "Welcome home, Captain." In the months that followed, the legend of Ethan Ward spread across the stars. Some said he was a ghost made of light. Others believed he was the bridge between humanity and the cosmos, proof that human courage could outlast even death. But to the Queen, he was still just the man who once stood in fire to save her life. He refused titles, refused fame. He lived quietly, helping rebuild the worlds he had nearly died for. When people bowed before him, he always said the same thing. "Don't bow to me. Bow to the living. They're the real heroes." One evening, as the sun set over the city of Arendor Prime, Ethan stood beside the Queen on her balcony, the same place she had waited for him for half a year. The stars burned bright above them, clean and peaceful for the first time in memory. "Do you ever think it'll end?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "War, no, but as long as we're here, it won't win." She turned to him. "And what are you now, Ethan? A man? A machine? A legend?" He chuckled softly. "Just human enough to love you." She froze. For a moment, words failed her. Then she smiled, not as a queen, but as the woman who had once loved a soldier too brave for his own good. As the wind whispered across the balcony, Ethan reached out and took her hand, and somewhere far above them among the stars, the echoes of his old comrades seemed to whisper, "He died to save the princess. He rose to protect the Queen, and now he guards all of humankind and forever."